Hey guys, today we're going to be making some African bonnet. You're going to need some satin fabric, some Ankara fabric, a scissors, some elastic band, and a means to sew. So whether that's a sewing machine, needle and thread, or some fabric glue, you would need that. Right now, what you're seeing me do is that I'm taking a prop. This is a round tray that was just lying around my house, and I'm so grateful I have this tray, and I'm using it to cut out a round cut fabric in a round way, in a round design, in a circle. And I found that this was really helpful because when I tried to cut the fabric without any prop, it was very difficult, and I ended up wasting a lot of fabric. So I'm using a chalk to just draw around the fabric to make the perfect circle. Okay, so what you can see right now is it's time for me to cut the satin fabric, and I've just gone ahead and done the same thing with the same thing as I did with the Ankara fabric. So I just put the Ankara fabric that I've already cut on top of the satin fabric, just so I'm very precise with my cut. So as you can see, the two fabrics that I'm going to use right now, or the two pieces of fabric that I'm going to use right now, are both cut already. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to position the bright fabric, the Ankara fabric, on its opposite side. So it's inside out. So the inside of the fabric is positioned outside, and for the satin fabric, we don't have to worry about it because both sides look the same, and it's going to be inconsequential anyways. We don't need the satin fabric to be placed in any way. So I'm gonna go ahead right now and just pin both fabrics together, and remember, the back side of the fabric is facing forward, is facing me right now. So it's sewing time, and I'm just sewing about half an inch away from the fabric. And that's exactly the reason why I pinned the fabric together, so that way I would know exactly, exactly where the half-inch seam would start. Now make sure that when you sew, when you're doing this process, you have to leave about a half-inch allowance of the fabric that you do not sew. And this is between the African fabric that I have right here and the satin fabric. You want to allow that that you want to give that allowance, so that way you can turn the fabric, turn the size of the fabric, because you remember, we have the back side, the wrong side of the fabric is facing outwards right now. But what I'm trying to do right now is that I'm taking out the fabric and I'm revealing the good side, or the front side of the fabric. So that's one of the reasons why we leave that half-inch allowance of seam. So I'm going to use an iron just to press the fabric. It was looking a bit crisp, so I'm going to use it just, I use an iron just, to just pass it a couple of times on the fabric, so that way we can straighten everything out. So as to make the next step of this whole process a lot more easier. So right now, this is the most hideous and the most time-consuming process that I found for me, obviously. And I was doing it in the hardest way because, as I mentioned earlier, I can't draw to save my life. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using the elastic band, and I'm measuring the space allowance that I would like to give that elastic band. But I'm also using it right now to draw a circle. Okay, and I don't know if I'm explaining myself well enough, but hopefully, with time, as you watch the video, you would kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So as you can see, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm using the elastic band, and I'm taking a chalk and I'm drawing the exact space allowance for this elastic band. I'm drawing that, but I'm doing it in a curvy manner, so that way at the end of the day, I come up with a circle. Okay, right now, as you guys can see, we're all done. We've completed the circle, and it's looking all right. So we're off to the sewing machine once more. Okay, and what we're doing right now is we're sewing along the line of that circle that we just drew. Okay, because remember, we're trying to sew an allowance for the elastic band. So that's what we're doing, and we're going to do it obviously in a curvy pattern, in a curvy manner, just because obviously it's a circle. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a safety pin and I'm pinning right at the edge of the elastic band that I've already cut, and you just have to measure your head with an elastic band. I'm actually using 2 safety pins for this, and I'm going to put one of those safety pins along attached to a rubber band. We're going to use that half-inch seam that we left from earlier. We're going to put it through that hole, and we're just going to pull through the fabric as we go on. We're going to pull it through towards the end. We're going to take out both elastic bands. We're going to put them together facing each other, and then we're going to sew along the elastic bands so as to, combine them together.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The music boy. No. Yeah, yeah, eh, 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 eh. Chumba no be married to Chumba no be married. Chumba no be married to Chumba no be married. Esongori.